Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you find yourself watching this. Welcome to episode 2 of Shit is Fucked with me, your host, Lear Person. And right off the bat, I want to say I'm sorry for the hiatus between episode 1 and episode 2. I recently left Long Island due to its rising cost of living and moved to a new state. And it took me a while to get situated in the new state, and that didn't leave a lot of time for creative work. But now I'm back, so if you guys keep watching this and keep wanting to see what I have to say about stuff, I'll keep making the videos. Moving forward, if you've noticed that the veiled anonymity from the first episode isn't here, and that's due to our source material today. Our source material today is going to be comments from the new12 Facebook page, and I feel that people use the anonymity of the internet to really spew some fucking hateful, terrible shit that they wouldn't really say in public. And since that everything I say on this show I'm willing to say in public, we're just going to drop that pseudo anonymity for this particular episode. We'll probably go back to it next time. Third, what are we going to talk about today? And what we are going to talk about today stems from the situations involving Mike Brown and Eric Garner. And specifically, out of those situations, this new term that has come up, and it's called, and that term is post-racist America or post-racial America. And according to NPR, 49% of white Americans believe that we live in a post-racist society, that racism is no longer an issue in the United States, and slavery was 200 years ago, so black people just got the fuck over it, which I have really found that these people neglect to ever mention that Jim Crow laws existed until like the 1960s, but I guess that's not conducive to their fucking argument, so they just leave it out. Anyway, so believing that we live in a post-racist society is chillingly easy to unravel, to prove that that is not true, and that racism is alive and well in our population. And like I said, our source material is simply comments from the News Channel 12 Facebook page. So I'm just going to read some of them, and if you still think we live in a post-racist society by the end of it, well, you're stupid. That's it. Anyway, so let's begin. These comments stem from a particular article about how the Nassau County Jail rented out its facilities to a Brooklyn rap artist to film parts of his video for one day. So these are the comments stemming from that. First one, just showing its viewers a preview of their lives, LOL. The rappers are going to go to jail, going to be there eventually anyway, may as well get used to it. This one's a harsh one. I thought they were filming the new Planet of the Apes movie. ... Ah, same thing, really? Also, I want to point out that this dude's profile picture is of... sorry. Is of that picture of Darren Wilson that's been in the news everywhere, where he's all like smug and like walking out of the courtroom, kind of looks evil. And, and when I clicked on it just to further investigate, his Facebook cover photo just said white pride. So, that certainly shouldn't exist in post-racial America. Anyway, moving on. My favorite and the top one for this particular story: monkeys love being in cages. All right. So moving on, the next story was a little bit more juicy and a little bit more touchy. It was a Q&A about police mistrust on Long Island, and the first comment wasn't words. The first fucking comment. I'm not sure if you've seen this picture. It's been circulating. It was on Reddit. The original picture is of a Ferguson protester holding a sign that says, "No mother should have to fear for her son's life every time he leaves the house." Now, someone with Photoshop got a little creative and changed the sign to say, "No mother should have to fear for her son's life every time he robs a store." That picture, the latter, was the first fucking comment on the thread. Moving on. Next, funny how the only towns that are protesting are ghetto towns. Furthermore, the issue is that there's a segment of our population that commits most of the crimes, and then blames the police. See, that's just, according to the Department of Justice, simply not true. Blacks, whites, Latinos all commit crimes equally at the same rate. But certain races, like blacks and Latinos, face harsher penalties when those crimes are prosecuted in court. and face harsher penalties, longer prison sentences, and they're usually charged higher, such as felonies as felonies as opposed to misdemeanors. This person then continues to go on and say, most of the U.S. has no problem with what happened with Brown and Garner. They were criminals and set into motion themselves how their lives were ended. No, all the traffic blocking and crazy protesting, most of the U.S., they just blew it off. Yeah, good one. Here's a good one. White children were the first to be enslaved. Am I mad? No. That was then, this is now. All right, buddy. Now you're hitting home for me because I'm of Irish descent as well, because that's what you're talking about. You're talking about the Irish slaves. First off, in Ireland, the Good Friday Agreement, which ended the, quote, the conflict between Protestants and Catholics in Ireland, was not signed until April 10th, 1998, in our lifetime. So guess what, bud? People were still mad about how Irish people were treated. Makes my head hurt. You can't make this shit up. Furthermore, our final one on this story. Why don't they just put black officers in black neighborhoods, Hispanic officers in Hispanic neighborhoods, and whites in white neighborhoods? Then they won't have any situations of profiling or of racial discrimination. Really? Okay. First off, lady, it's disturbing that you think that neighborhoods are so easily broken up by race, that could just be possible. Two, I really want you to take a second and think about what you're suggesting. You're suggesting we go back to segregation. As if Brown versus the Board of Ed didn't exist. As if the struggles of the 60s and the civil rights movement were not valid. As if the speeches of Dr. Martin Luther King are worthless. You have suggested, basically, we go back to whites-only drinking fountains. You fuck! Well, that's on the African-American side of our post-racist society. Let's check out what's going on with stories involving Latinos. Now, the first one was about a gang seminar on Long Island, which I don't know how it specifically seemed to become about Latinos, but it did. So, here we go. Stop using them and get rid of their parents, and they will go away. The word deport 2 times. Just the word deport. Get rid of the illegals. MS-13 is mainly comprised of illegals, and that will be a start. The majority of the people who voted for the Democrats, who are for bringing all the illegal criminals here, deserve to get shot the fuck up. Nice one, dude. They are not children of illegals. They came on their own across the border. They don't work as robbing and stealing. Hey, look, something positive. Nope, I take that back. He forgot a comma. They don't work, comma, as robbing and stealing is their job, as well as drugs. They recruit your children into gangs, especially young females, who become sex slaves for the gangs, and if they try to leave, they threaten your family to keep you in the gang. The word deport 2 more times. Right, now this one is particularly interesting since it was a man accused of sexual abuse, so I don't exactly understand how he got on like a topic of race, because I read the article and it seems that it does not mention his like immigration status or where he's from anywhere in the article, and also it does mention though that he was a seasonal worker for the town's parks department, so I'm assuming that he probably had some credentials to be in the country. I mean, something at least. But I guess because he was brown in the photo, here we go. First one, amnesty, ... Just lovely, Long Island. You can thank all the Obama voters for letting these animals over the border. Nothing to see here. I'm sure he's not one of the foreign invaders the terrorist squatting in our White House has released upon us. like a plague or something. Do you know how many of these cockroaches are guilty of sex crimes? But sure, let more in. Thanks, Obama, for flushing our country further down the toilet and filling it with these turds. Now, by the way, I have to stop myself on this one because this fucking person's profile picture was of Rudolph the goddamn red-nosed reindeer, which, if I remember the song in the movie correctly, was about a reindeer who was born differently and was ostracized because of his differences, and then it was found because of his differences was somebody special and could be productive and should be let into the reindeer society. Or I'm pretty sure you missed the point of the fucking movie somewhere. Sorry, homie. And now, the last one, look, so the last one is pretty interesting because News Channel 12 goes through and deletes comments. See, I had actually called out that commenter that we mentioned before about the Planet of the Apes thing for being openly a white supremacist, and they deleted my comment. So they do go through it and delete comments, especially ones that are inflammatory, but they can't get them all. That's like that. This is like from stories that are already old, so they've already combed through it, and they couldn't even get them all that were fucking racist. So this is even just the leftovers. So this last one, I have to paraphrase, and I think it really, really does sum up how dumb the idea that we live in a post-racist America really is, because this is a story about solar panels. It's about people on Long Island converting to solar energy. And this person comments, "I can't wait to leave Long Island. This Stalinist, illegals loving place." So after I've read all this, actual quotes except that last one, on stories from the News Channel 12 Facebook page, if you could actually sit here and think to yourself that we live in a post-racist America, you are willfully fucking ignorant and you are part of the goddamn problem. You need to wake up. As cliche as that term is, you need to wake up. Racism still bleeds America. It is alive, it is well, and it is spewed openly. Not just on KKK fan pages either, but on major news outlets. So, I hope I changed some people's minds about the state of race relations in our country. Have a good night.